going on?
Yeah, it's close to end of season. So for the East Coast, that really felt like that was last month. Of course, as I've flown out here to try to find some endless snow, it's snowing like crazy back in Boston. So what are you gonna do? But it's a beautiful spring day. So I love it. I know that there's been some locals complaining about the conditions because they get to pick everything that's out here. But for me, the firmness of the morning, like that's a good day back home. So I don't mind. I have a demo snowboard from Never Summer. They sent out those prototypes, so I wanted to check out a new ice board. And it turned out it's perfect conditions to check it in.
No way.
Yeah, it's like super grippy. It's ridiculous.
What part of Boston?
Like Boston, actual.
Boston, like downtown, like
over near Harvard.
No, right? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And what was the conditions like over there, just downtown? I'm curious. I didn't know all winter. Like
No, there's been no snow. I think they had plows come through one day, all season long. And like last year, same thing. There's like 3 days that plows actually had to run.
Wow.
It's been really bad. The mountains aren't so bad, but my normal board is a white base, and like every time I've been doing a run, basically all March long, I have to get home and clean it off because it just has brown streaks all over it. Just nothing but mud and roots. It's fun. I love spring skiing. It's really those hero conditions. It lets you jump around and have some fun, but it's kind of hard to remember what you're doing too, because it's not snowboarding. It's more like surfing at that point.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. The only East Coast skiing and snowboarding I do is out in Quebec.
Yeah.
And the conditions out there are still pretty cold, but I heard, the East Coast has been totally just too warm, right? Too warm and ice on sheets. And you talk about that.
Ice and ice. Yeah. It's crazy. Jay Peak is one of those mountains that it's northern Vermont, and they typically have one of the longer seasons because they have their own little climate zone, and so they always get to pick up whatever is coming down from Canada, and they just get endless powder. And even early March, it was just ice sheets. It was like a luge track. It had you kind of out between runs, sharpening your edges. It was a bad day, and unfortunately, that's what a lot of it is there's just ice on ice on ice. The East Coast is great because it's tight runs. It's fast. There's moguls. A lot of those like black diamonds or double black diamonds are called like power lines or goat tracks because like they're as wide as this table.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but like it's fun when the conditions are good. Like you feel like you're invincible going through those, but when they're not good, you're kind of falling with style.
I believe it, man.
Yeah.
What's the resorts? What are your favorites out there?
For me, my two favorites are Killington out in Vermont is amazing. There's a lot of East Coast mountains that are like decent mountains on their own, but it's hard to run multiple days. And Killington is, I think, 4 or 5 different peaks. So you want to have your park day, you head over to one peak. They have nice is an understatement. They have an incredible park set up there. They have the Peace Park. If you just want to go and bomb moguls, you head over to Bear Mountain and you get to go and do that all day. You just want to take some fun laps. Like there's a million mountains for it, so I love it. It's really easy to spend a week out there and hit different trails every single day. My other go-to is Waterville in New Hampshire, which is a much smaller family mountain. But for me,
I don't know any of these resorts, by the way.
No, it's all good. I like that one because again, with how tight a lot of New England coast resorts are, they'll basically build them around their black diamonds and cat tracks. So like, oh, here's your green and blue trails. You're like, well, these aren't actually trails. These are just cat tracks that are intersecting with all the black diamonds.
I see now. Okay.
Yeah. So like Waterville's not like that. A lot of their trails are really dedicated. They really think out their trail system. And so when you're taking runs, even if the base feels crowded, you'll only ever see like 1 or 2 people on the run that you're on. And so it's a great way to make it feel like you have the resort to yourself. So those are my 2 spots to go to out east.
Gotcha. And is it a far drive from Boston proper? Like
it's hard. Like for me, I have an Icon Pass, and so that's hitting places like Killington, Sugarbush, which is northern Vermont, Sugarloaf and Sunday River out in Maine, Stratton, southern Vermont. And Stratton's really the only one I can day trip, and that's like 2.5 hours depending on conditions. Same like Loon is probably 3 hours. Loon is 2 hours. Killington is like 3 hours. So it's a lot of people give me crazy looks because they're like, "You're out here for a day trip?" I was like, "Hey, if I can spend 5 hours on the mountain and just be driving for 4 hours, that's a win for me. So I'm gonna take it."
That's not bad.
Yeah,
So
I
do you
mean,
like do you sleep out there? Then you get like a lodge or like an Airbnb or something?
No, like I literally I'll wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and drive out.
Wow.
Yeah, last season, there was plenty of snow, to be honest. I got, I think, 30 plus days out of my pass.
That's pretty good, man.
And like, some of those were trips, right? Like I'd go and do a week at Killington, I'd do a week up in Maine. I got out to Tahoe, I went out to Palisades like right as it was dumping, so that was awesome because I basically my trip there was perfectly timed by accident. I got there as it dumped, and then that little window that they had was when I had to go home. So I left, and then anybody who was still there got trapped. So I was like,
no.
I got the most amazing conditions. I'm like, I felt like I've never snowboarded before being in that because you're waist deep in powder.
What was the dates for that?
That I feel like that was like mid-February, right?
I think because I'm not even kidding. The snowstorm you're talking about, I think someone got stuck.
Yeah.
In exactly the spot you're talking about, because I remember them being like, we got stuck in our car, we couldn't even get out, there's so much snow, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So you missed, sounds like you missed the whole beat.
I get some good trips. I did Mount Hood 2 years ago, and I was out there like late May, like third week of May. And so I was playing, I bought the spring pass, and I thought like, I'll be out for a week, like I'll get to go and hit the summit. They couldn't run the summit lift. It snowed a foot 3 like the 5 days I was on the mountain.
A foot?
In like late May. So I was like, all right, well, I want to go back to Hood. And I know the next time I do it, like it's not gonna snow, and I'll be like, wow, this sucks. But that right now, I'm gonna tell everybody like Hood is where it's at for the spring skiing because it can still dump out there.
Well, I mean, you guys are high elevation, but all the moisture, right? Like spring moisture comes in. I was at Whistler and it was raining. It was absolutely terrible. The first week of February.
Yeah.
Terrible conditions, man. Absolutely terrible. First third of the mountain was dirt and grass. Second third was just dirt and some slushy snow, and the top third was ice.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll end up getting what you got at Mount Hood. I mean, just a little bit of powder dumps in May.
That's always the hope. It's so hard when you're getting out. Like for me, that's the worst part about ski vacations is you're gonna tell yourself you're gonna have a good time no matter what, but. You're in October booking something for January, February. You have no idea what the conditions are. You're just
rolling
like,
dice.
Yep, I'm gonna show up and hope for the best. I haven't had too many bad ones, but it's definitely it's so nerve-wracking that week before when you're just like frantically refreshing the weather report.
It's like, oh, it's sunny, but it's always the last day I'm there. We're supposed to get some powder.
Yeah, well, that's me. Like I got here yesterday, so it's like I'm supposed to snow maybe this weekend, but I hear it's supposed to dump next week. I'm taking off Sunday, so it's like,
I know. What you're in luck though. See how the clouds are coming in?
Yeah.
You're in luck though, because this weekend we are supposed to get some, but it's gonna be mostly on Sunday, the best day.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow it'll snow during the day, but it still won't be accumulating. But then Sunday, that'll be the good day.
That's my fingers crossed. Like I was initially leaving on Saturday. I was gonna take a red eye out of here, and I checked the weather. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna extend it by one day.
There you go.
And fingers crossed, I get some freshies.
Where are you gonna go? Brighton again, or Snowbird? Or?
I think I'm gonna stick to this. It's hard. That's what I was waffling on, was if I wanted to bounce between the two resorts. And when the conditions are like this, I bet Snowbird's awesome when the chutes are nice. But if the chutes aren't nice, it's like, I'm not going out there if it's not fresh snow.
Well, another reason why you should go out there tomorrow is, this weekend, is they have a concert series going on.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So they have a concert series going on. Happens every this time of year, once in Snowbird, but it's like just a bunch of concerts, and I think it's from 2 to 6. They just have a bunch of people out, tents and beer, and
nice.
I don't know if that's kind of your thing, but I figured I'd let you know.
That's what it's all about. No, I apprate that.
Yeah.
I love that. Finding beachheads is tricky out east. There's I think only 1 or 2 resorts that actually do it.
Beachheads?
Well, like you imagine this, right? If this was filled up with food trucks and beer gardens, that's what they'll do. And you kind of get a little bit of that up here, but it's all still indoors. So if you just imagine that there's those outdoor tents set up, there's some resorts that actually run that just all year round. It's a lot of fun, because when you're out here on a day like this, you're like, I don't know, do I want more slush or do I want a slushy, right?
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it. Do I want more slush or more of a slushy? Have you been to Park City at all?
Yeah, I've done that before. That's a fun mountain. It's kind of interesting. I went, I think it's shortly after not the rename, but kind of the merger.
Of Canyons and Park
Yeah.
City. Yeah.
So I didn't realize that happened. So I went out there with a buddy, and I booked in like the new Park City, and he booked in the old Park City. He's like, "Where are you?" So like we eventually figured it out.
Oh, man.
But yeah, like the Olympic side of Park City, it was kind of interesting. It felt very East Coasty. It felt kind of like tight runs, fast runs. Like it was fun, but getting over the canyons like that, I was shocked by that because a lot of people online are like, "Oh, Park City's where it's at." And Park City is a resort. Awesome. Like you get to walk out, eat and drink like on the resort. It's truly ski on, ski off. Love that. But the skiing in canyons, oh man, like that's so underrated. That was so much fun.
Underrated, man.
Scott's shoot, I think, like
That was so many bowls, man. Well, they have a lot of boot packing too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done the Conkeys, which is Super Condor, which is the farthest right side of canyons.
Yep.
And you have a huge boot pack. You can do all the way up and come back down those bowls. Oh my God, those shoots are ridiculous.
Yeah,
man.
that's why you come out west. A lot of people are like, "Oh, what's the difference? Is it this and that?" So honestly, it's the shoots and bowls. There are, I think probably maybe 3 resorts out east with shoots. Like it's pretty much unheard of.
But you guys have the best tree runs, I think.
It's a lot of people talk about how much harder West Coast runs are, and I think that's kind of relative because ice coasters, like, we gotta be on ice, we gotta be on tight runs. You are dodging trees like you're a professional slalomer. Like it definitely, like, they're longer out here. I'll give you that. Like they're longer, they're steeper, but I think you take somebody who can handle black diamonds and double black diamonds out east and bring them out here, and they're just going to be smiling like the entire time because it's so much fun.
It's so true. I always think, like, out of all the mountain resorts in the Salt Lake City area, Brighton has some of the best tree runs.
Yeah.
You can see how much, like, look at the trees. They're beautiful. And it's like the whole setup of Brighton is a bowl. It's just a ginormous bowl. Like, we're covered and there's no wind ever.
Yeah, I was over on the far side of the mountain there, just kind of like, I was thinking about planning out a run looking at the map. I was like, no, I'm just going to kind of go down it. I'll get down there somewhere. Like, it'll be so much fun.
You went to Great Western right now. It's like kind of icy. It's a little sketchy right now.
Yeah, I took that one time. I was like, this sucks. I'm not. I like to take the turn off and head back over into the bowl because that was not a fun run. On a snowboard anyways.
No.
I'm sure on skis it's whatever, but I hate those long runs. Like, that's not the worst one, but they're just not fun.
Have you checked out Snow Basin by chance?
No, not yet.
You really should, man. You really, really should check out Snow Basin whenever you get a chance. Because if you like them long runs, there's one, like Strawberry Gondola on the far left side you can't really picture it, but there's a gondola. If you take that with my Garmin, you track it, 2.2 miles all the way back down.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I love those runs. And so if Killington has one of those, they say, it's super long, it's like a couple miles. But honestly, once, like, you're going down, I think, basically 3 base camps, and by the time you get to the second base camp, it's just all cat tracks. Like, it's uphill in parts. So it's like, on the map, it's long, but I've done it once, and I would never recommend any snowboarder do it, because it's so bad. So hearing about an actual run that's that long, those are awesome. I love those.
Have you been snowboarding your whole life?
No, actually, I grew up skiing, and my wife wanted to, when I tried to get her into winter sports, I was like, all right, you want to ski or you want to snowboard? She's like, let's snowboard. So I've taken up snowboarding as an adult. Would not recommend. 0 out of 10. It's so bad.
Why is it bad, man? Why is it bad?
Well, like when you ski, it's like awful the first day, and then once you can get rid of your little gazelle legs, you're good to go. Like you're not going to be awesome. You're not going to be a Michelle Schifrin, but you can pretty much hit anything and have a good time. And I'm wearing wrist guards. I've been out for I think 5 years now, confidently snowboarding.
Nice wrist guards you got there.
Yeah. But I still fall. Like it's part of snowboarding, right? Like you go on a side hit, and you're not really gonna know until you hit if it's gonna be a 360 or 180. And even if you're not falling on trying to do a trick, you're gonna hit some moguls and you're gonna kind of scrape along. It's a lot more work. Like you have to be in shape to do it. So it's fun. That's why I'm out here without her, and I'm still doing it because
so she's back
fun.
home?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. She had to watch the dog. We flipped a coin. I won.
Flips a coin, we get to watch the dog or shred. That's a pretty heavy coin. You better.
Yeah, I'm gonna be paying for that later.
Oh, tell us about like so how you started skiing. I mean, you're out east the whole time, and
Yeah. I basically grew up. I think that might not be super typical for East Coast, but I assume anybody who grew up in New Hampshire is just like you can't avoid the snow there. Like even if you don't do downhill skiing, you have to do cross country skiing, and I did all of it. So I did like the whole school program and so on and so forth, and even. As I started working, I'd still do it. I went out to Hintertux, met a buddy out there because we were both out there for work, and we're like, "Where can you go skiing in the middle of June?" Like, all right, Hintertux, like let's go out there.
Really?
And, yeah.
In this middle of June?
Hintertux and Zermatt are the two spots in the Alps that are open all year long.
Oh, the Alps, gotcha.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Hood. It's like it's open all year round. It doesn't mean it's going to be primo, but it is. But no, and that was crazy. I got to the summit there, and there were whiteout conditions. I was like, somebody should have told us it's June.
But June is crazy.
Yeah,
man.
so like I still kind of tell myself that if you go and give me some skis and drop me off in a helicopter, I'll get down to the bottom. I'm not gonna do it the best, but I'll have a good time and I'll make it happen. But with the snowboard, being out for a couple days. I can take it slow, I can ride switch, I can just kind of hit some tricks, I can do some carves, I can kind of do whatever I want at the pace I want and have fun the entire time. And that for me, like, that's part of why I got out of skiing. I felt like with skis, you basically just want to keep going faster and faster and faster. And I was like, I'm going to kill myself. Let me do something a little bit slower that's still fun. And that's why snowboarding is perfect.
I mean, my personal opinion, like, I do both. Skiing on a day like today is my favorite.
Yeah.
But snowboarding on a powder day.
Oh yeah.
You can't beat it. Powder and snowboarding is just made to be together. Like
I was demoing snowboards earlier this season because I was trying to find a board that would be good on ice and.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say powder. I was gonna be like, powder board.
Well, so I've been riding a lot of battalions, and they're super fun, especially when the conditions are good. But when it's a lot firmer and you actually need to set an edge, it's a little bit harder. And so I was at a resort that was basically all ice, but they were still blowing powder. So like I was out with the battalion, and I'm like, this sucks. Hit the powder. And I was like, oh my god, I'm never getting rid of this board. And, this sucks. So like being in the powder with the right board, it's life changing. It's good.
What's it called? The Battalion by who?
No, the Battalion's the brand.
What kind of board was it from the Battalion?
It was the whatever.
Like it's a powder board, like it was.
No, it's an all mountain board. It's softer. Like my first battalion was a Goliath. That's like a 7 out of 10. The whatever is more like a 6 out of 10. And it's a directional board, which is part of why I did wind up getting rid of it because I do like the ability to just kind of do everything with the board. But yeah, like it's just battalion and powder just go hand in hand. They're so. Especially for like resort powder where you do have to get back out on the trail or like you think you might hit some jumps. I tell everybody, it's like if you're getting into snowboarding or if you just want like a super fun board, get a Battalion. If you used to like something with a little bit better edge control, well don't. Like get anything else.
I honestly you're following exactly what I recommend too with like new snowboarders. It's like, get yourself an all mountain board when you start. But then, like, you should start and go into, like, specific niches. Like, get a powder board that's made for powder.
Yep.
Get a park board that's made for park. Because I swear, I have a lot of friends that just get all mountain. And then when they see me riding my powder board, I'm like, see, you have to have a niche.
Yep.
Because an all mountain on powder is good, but, I mean, that thing on powder is so fun.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. It's so true. It's one of those things I never really thought about. Because I think with skis, you need powder skis if you're doing powder. And if you're not, you can kind of get by with whatever. But with snowboards, like, the idea of a quiver totally makes sense. It's like you need the right edge for that day. If you're gonna hit the park, like, you need a different board. Like, it's so true. You ride in all mountains so that you get your balance, and then once you know what you're hitting, like, get a board for that day. You'll just have such a better day.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, and I was gonna film your board right now.
Oh yeah. I mean,
what we got right now today.
I'm sure Never Summer will go and harpoon me for this, but like it's legitimately it is their prototype boards. So they're
wow, prototype board.
Yeah.
Is this like supposed to be insider? Like, should I not like? Is this?
I have no idea. They sent them out, so they didn't have me sign anything.
Okay, they didn't have you sign anything. We're good. We're good. Look at that prototype board. It's nice, man.
It's one of their triple camber hybrids, so it's a rocker overall profile.
Wow.
And if I got this up on a table, like you kind of see, it's got some like wicked flex to it. And yeah, it's.
Look at that.
So like when
That's
I was
a
out
beautiful
here,
board, man. It's got like, it's almost like carbon fiber.
the texture on this is crazy.
Wow.
I'm usually kind of a noob. I have to go and put stump pads on everything to avoid sliding around. You do not need to do that with one of these. Like it's so sticky. And yeah, I had this out last night, right as it got cold and everything firmed up, and this thing is super hooky. It wants to grab everything.
Wow, that might be my next board, man. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, no,
160.
Nice little 160 wide for those bigger feet.
That's so cool. Good for you. How'd you get involved in like a prototype board, man?
Honestly, they just emailed out. You know, they were one of my favorite social media brands.
Really?
Because like they were super engaged. And, like, not to say that they're not, but I think 2 or 3 years ago, like they would just do giveaways constantly. Like I won a board through them on Instagram where they like Photoshop your pet onto a board. And so like I just had like my dog wearing a little beanie and like standing on top of this snowboard.
And you got it.
And they're like, here you go. So like that's ridiculous. I've never heard of a brand doing that. So they're really good on social media. I don't know how many giveaways they do now, but like I know locally, right? They're a Colorado company, and one of the local high schools, they get a contest going for them to design the next board prints. And like every single year
cool.
they put out like 10, they vote for some winners, and like they actually make them. It's not just the ones who win. Like if you're near Never Summer, like I hate you, because you get access to everything. Because they go and make all these kids boards, and like one of them will win, and so they'll make a couple more. But even the ones that don't win, like they still make them, and you get all these custom designs out of them. They're super involved in the community. They're really fun, and you know, they have great edge tech.
I appreciate you showing us, man.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to be super thrilled to see a new Never Summer. I mean, it's just, especially with that detail.
Yeah.
I guess I got one more last question. Any trips, big trips planned for the future?
That's always the hard one. You know, I was supposed to do Banff this year, and just with how the weather was, I chickened out, and I figured I'd do something last minute. So I'm hoping to get out to Banff next year. Just spend a week up in Canada and just really enjoy that beautiful scenery. That for me, like, it is so gorgeous out here. Oh my God, the flight in, I feel stupid. I was taking 1,000 photos, and my wife's like, stop sending me pictures. I was like, you don't understand, it's so pretty out here.
Airplane the window?
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's been blue skies, and you got in when it was clear. Like look now it's starting to get cloudy now. So
we'll complain about the clouds, but we know that's snow, so we can't complain too much.
Exactly. That's like my favorite part of Salt Lake is that in the Salt Lake Valley, it's always blue skies, dry, and you come out in the mountains and then poof, clouds and snowing, and it's ridiculous.
The drive in was so weird. I was so sketched out entering the canyon, and I was like, when's the snow showing up? And you're just driving a little bit, like 10 minutes in, you're like, when's the snow showing up? And then you make it around that hairpin, you're like, oh, there it is.
I know, right? If you look at your thermometer too, you drop like 15.
I drove
degrees.
in a Wrangler, and like I had the windows open and the top off, and I was like, yeah, it's summer, and I'm like, all right, shut the windows, turn on the heat.
It gets cold quick, man. The elevation gain is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're at 88 right now up here, so
yeah,
it's remarkable, you know. But yeah, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, no, I'm very jealous of the locals. This is the dream.
Well, honestly, I'll just tell you what we're doing with the podcast too. So I started this clothing brand. It's Merino Pool Apparel. Right now I'm wearing one of the base layers. So I just kind of talk to people about, you know, outdoor enthusiast stuff, and then if they want to have merino wool, they just take one of these and they get a discount on it. So I really appreciate you just stopping in and talking to us and telling us your story and why you like snowboarding.
I'm all about it. To give you the plug on Merino too. I went hard in like the tech gear. Like I got the North Face Steep Series, you know, $1,000 jackets and pants, and I wasn't in love with it until I realized I had to wear all merino, like to make that tech gear work. And now, like, you know, you can see me, I'm wearing a merino t-shirt. Like that's all I pack. And the nice thing with merino is like you only have to pack like 1 or 2 layers for a trip because it doesn't smell.
Well, you already know.
It's
You already know.
so
You already know this whole thing. I don't have to sell it to you.
Right? Yeah, no, I am all about the Merino. Like I have the socks, I have the base layer, I have the shirts. It's such a game changer. I can't believe it took me so long. So yes, anybody listening, please go and get Merino. It will change your life, and it'll save you a ton of money and packing because you don't have to pack 50 t-shirts to go skiing. You can pack just one for after when you're out, and then one for when you're on the mountain.
Well, honestly, you would probably love these base layers. I got t-shirts too. I'm selling for mountain bikers. So check out our website and let us know, and I'll give you a discount for sure, man. Big fat discount.
No, I appreciate that.
To sit down. So, but yeah, I'm glad you like the Merino wool. I mean, do you do other sports like mountain biking or anything like that? Or?
No. This is basically my only one. That's the downside of being in the city is there's only so much crap you can store that you can't use there. I used to be in the mountain biking, and as I got closer and closer, I eventually sold it off because it's like, gotta have the rack, gotta store the bike someplace. A little bit easier to stick a board in the closet than it is to stick a bike there. So it's
so true. Man.
It's a tragedy, but I do what I can.
Oh man, I love to hear it. Right now it's snowing.
Yeah,
so
right.
I think I'm gonna pack up before my gear gets wet here. But I really appreciate it, honestly. Thank you so much for stopping by. You said Steven?
Steven.
Yeah, Steven. Thank you so much, man.
No, I appreciate it.
Head us up on Instagram. Like I said, we'll get if you have an Instagram, or a Facebook or something.
Yeah. I'm on